What's going on, Muscle Monsters? Alain Gonzalez here, and today I want to answer a quick question, and it's a very popular one. Do you have to lift heavy in order to build muscle? The problem that I have with the question, though, is that heavy is a relative term, right? For me, 225 on the bench press is relatively heavy. Okay, for my brother, however, it's a warm-up. For me, 275 on the bench is heavy, but I can remember back when 135 pounds was just as heavy. Okay? Now, this question is typically asked in the context of rep ranges, right? Because more recently, sets of 3, sets of 5, and focusing on strength has become more popular in the bodybuilding community, right? In the fitness community in general. Okay? And so in the past, we've always been told that if we want to gain muscle, we got to stay in the 8 to 12 reps, things of that nature. Now, in that context, the simple answer is no. You don't have to lift heavy, right? And what I mean by that is if you can push a weight for, say, 4 sets of 12 reps, then technically that's not really heavy, right? And so if we want to build muscle, only a couple of things have to happen. Number one, we have to be eating enough, ensuring we're getting enough protein. But when it comes to training, what has to happen is we have to progressively add more weight, right? More work, rather. Okay, so as long as we are able to do more work, right? By increasing the weight without sacrificing reps, by increasing reps without sacrificing load, or just adding more volume throughout the week, then we will build muscle. However, here's the kicker, okay? Because the goal is progressive overload, then it makes sense that if you want to maximize the amount of muscle that you gain, that you do train for strength, that you do train heavy in that 3 or 5 rep range, right? Because that's where we make the most improvements in strength. And if we can get stronger on the bench press, right? If we can push more weight, which is going to happen fastest if we train heavy, then we can ultimately push more weight when we're training lighter. Okay? So if you've been training for a while and you're at 185 pounds on the bench and you just can't get past that for, say, 12 reps for your 4 sets, well, training with, say, for example, 225 for sets of 3 to 5 is going to allow you to get stronger. And if you can get stronger there, then it only makes sense that because you're stronger, you're going to be able to push more weight on the bench press when you're going for higher reps. Okay? If your max bench press is 315, then chances are you're going to be able to push 185 for more than 12 reps, right? That's just an example, but you get the idea. If you're getting stronger with the heavier loads for less reps, then you're ultimately going to get stronger with the higher reps, okay? So the simple answer is no, you don't have to lift heavy, but if your goal is to maximize the amount of muscle you build, then I would highly recommend that you do train heavy, whether you're doing sets of 3s, 5s, and things of that nature. That's going to be up to you and your programming, but ultimately you do want to include strength days into your training. Because again, those strength days are what's going to allow you to get stronger. And as long as you're getting stronger, you're going to be able to move more weight in those higher rep ranges. Not to mention, mechanical tension is one of the primary factors for muscle growth, right? One of the primary mechanisms by which we build muscle. Okay? And that happens with a heavy load. Okay? And then again, on top of that, if you're progressing in those higher rep ranges, which happens when you get stronger, then you're going to continue to build muscle. So, no, you don't have to lift heavy, right? As long as you're training with 65% of your 1 rep max or higher, you're going to build muscle as long as you're progressing. But if you want to maximize the rate at which you progress, then you want to train heavy. Peace.